Welcome to the Funeral Funds Life Insurance Podcast. I'm your host, Randy Vandervate from Funeral Funds of America, and you can find us at funeralfunds.com. That's funeral, FUNDS.com. Whether you're interested in term life, whole life, annuities, disability, business continuation, mortgage protection, or final expense life insurance, we have you covered. Our team of experienced professionals will guide you through the complexities of life insurance products to help you make an informed decision. In this podcast, I'm going to be discussing 10 benefits of permanent life insurance. Let's just jump right into it. Number one, perhaps the most obvious, is financial protection for loved ones, right? If you don't have permanent life insurance coverage, what do you have? You got one of two other things. You've got temporary life insurance coverage, or you've got no life insurance coverage. And I can tell you, no life insurance coverage is a terrible thing. If you do unfortunately pass away prematurely and then your family's got nothing, oh my gosh, terrible. Now, I will say temporary life insurance protection, it does have a place. It does have a place. If you're younger and you need massive amounts of coverage, and massive could be $50,000 to one person, it could be $5 million to another person. But if you need a lot of insurance coverage, term life insurance is the way to go. Now, there is a certain celebrity out there that says you should just like get the term insurance and invest the difference. Well, you know, I think even he knows what he's talking about, that, most people don't do that because it's human nature that we like to spend money. So what ends up happening with so many of those people where they get the term insurance and they're supposedly going to invest the difference, they never do. They get to the end of that insurance policy and it cancels, or the price quadruples or quintuples or any sort of duple. It gets pretty impressive. The increases are pretty impressive when a 20-year plan gets up to 20 years and you're going into that 21st year, or a 30 into the 31st year. But you've got to kind of understand, your kind of financial temperament a little bit. Some people are really great at paying bills, and some people are really great at saving money. And if you're not great at saving money, you may just want to consider getting a permanent policy and just pay that bill. It will be a little bit more expensive than a term life insurance policy, but it lasts forever. That is one of the benefits of permanent life insurance, because it's permanent as long as you pay the premiums. So, yeah, very, very important distinction between those three. The second topic is cash accumulation. Now, term life insurance does not accumulate cash. That's one of the reasons it's less expensive. The term life insurance, again, it's for a certain period of time, and then the policy ends. Statistically, those policies don't pay out. I think it's roughly 3% or something that they pay out, which is fortunate. We don't want people dying at a higher rate, but just understand that it's a really good chance that you will pay that your whole life and it'll never pay out. That's great. I tell you what, I've had multiple term policies throughout my whole life. And every time I had a term life that I grew out of, that I reached the term on, whether it be 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, man, I celebrated. Of course I would have loved to have carried forward the insurance. But man, what's the other alternative? It would have paid out and I would have been dead and it would have been terrible. So I'm kind of unique there. I always celebrate when people say, "Hey, my term policy ran out," and I'm really disappointed. And I go, "Well, did you want it to pay out ever?" And they go, "Well, no, I guess not." But permanent life insurance policies build up cash accumulation, and you know, in many cases, it doesn't really benefit extremely people that are kind of lower to mid income. Most of the times, lower to mid income, it's quite often it's month to month with the money and the paying the bills and everything. And it's just not like cash accumulations like a really big deal. But as you get into your higher net worth people, and as you start maxing out all other investment tools, then permanent life insurance starts to become really cool. You know what, right? Really cool stuff. What you can do with permanent life insurance and the laws surrounding permanent life insurance and the money that you'll have access to out of that cash value to kind of be your own bank is pretty exciting, terrific stuff. A little bit more than I really want to go in this podcast. We will talk about that later, though. Another benefit of permanent life insurance is tax advantages. So cash values inside these policies, they grow within the life insurance policy, and it's all tax deferred, meaning you're not going to have to pay taxes on it as long as the growth stays in the policy. And additionally, you can borrow that money out of the policy, and you actually end up paying interest back into the policy for borrowing that. So you're not paying interest into a bank. And boy, I tell you what, when we're in some of these high interest environments, that money that you're borrowing against is a really favorable interest rate when you get enough money built up into in those policies. So certainly something to take a look at there too. We've kind of touched on the next point, lifetime coverage. We kind of talked about that a little bit, but again, term life insurance is typically just going to last for specific periods. And well, it does. It doesn't typically. It does, but typically it would be, like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. There are some term policies out there that are annually renewable terms. So they just every year they come up for renewal. And as long as you're healthy and everything, your policy renews. And if you die in that next year, it's going to pay out. But permanent life insurance is going to cover your entire life. The premiums, it will stay in place as long as the premiums are made. And again, there's all sorts of creative stuff that you can do to fund larger whole life policies. The number 5 we're talking about here is flexible premium payments. So permanent life insurance, you can choose what to pay um, when you actually sign up for the policy. Now, the premiums are going to stay fixed. Now, if you want the ability to be able to pay a little bit more and a little bit less at times throughout the policy, you would want to look at a universal life. Now, again, that is beyond the scope of this podcast, but universal life are called flexible premium payment policies because you can just change if you want to pay a little less or if you don't want to pay any, or if you've got enough cash value in that universal life and say, hey, I just want the premium payments to be made out of the cash value, and therefore I don't have to pay any more premiums. Now, don't just automatically go and do that without talking with an agent, like one of our agents here at Funeral Funds who knows what the heck they're doing, because you could run out, you could kind of, you could goober up your policy. That's not a technical term, but you could goober it up pretty good. Our 6th point is as an estate planning tool. So if you make enough money in the United States, Uncle Sam, the government loves you, and they love you enough to like come after your estate and tax you a death tax. And for high net worth people, you think that high net worth people, for lack of a better term, rich people, right? You think that they've just got money sitting aside for a whole bunch of things, but as you get more money, your expenses grow, right? So a lot of times they don't have a lot of liquid cash or liquid assets just floating around that when somebody passes away, they can pay all these estate taxes. So what ends up happening? The government again. The government's going to get his money. So they're going to come after and they're going to do this, you charge this death tax, right? This and a lot of times families don't have the money to pay this tax. So they've got to sell the very asset that they're getting taxed on to pay the stinking taxes. So it's, permanent life insurance is a great tool there to protect the estate, but then also when you throw the cash value in there and the ability to borrow against that, pretty cool deal. Also, if you're not like a high net worth person, if you're just an average person, which most people are just average, you can actually use the whole life insurance to, when somebody does pass away, you get the death benefit out of the policy. And that can help finalizing the transfer of wealth or assets to family members or whoever the beneficiaries are. But you can also, in some cases, make sure that things are paid up if and taken care of along the way if all the assets are of a high enough value that it goes into your state probate system. Because if you have enough assets in many states beyond a certain threshold, the estate automatically goes into probate. And that can take 6, 9 months. And there's bills that have to be paid, and there's money that's going, there's all sorts of stuff. So yeah, estate planning tool, pretty cool stuff. Number 7 is borrowing opportunities. We've kind of touched on that going forth. Permanent life insurance has cash value that you can borrow against, low interest rates. The borrowing is not subject to income tax, and you don't have to get an approval from a bank or anything like that. Even if your credit was shot and you've got the cash value, you could just request that money, boom, and it will be just delivered. Typically via a check or something like that from the insurance company. So just understand that if you have one of these policies, and we know sometimes life just goes wrong and you need some money, you can borrow out of the cash value of these policies. Pretty cool stuff. We always recommend you pay it back, of course, right? Just like if you borrowed money from anything else, credit card, car, house, you would pay that money back. But just understand it's right there. Permanent life insurance, there's also the potential for dividends. That's a number 8 topic. So some types of permanent life insurance, such as participating whole life, they'll pay dividends to the policyholders. And those dividends just represent a share of the insurance company's profits, and they can be used to purchase additional coverage, or to reduce your premiums, or to accumulate more cash value, or you can just take the money and run in the form of cash. Pretty cool stuff. You have to get into the right policy when you get into it, because not all whole life insurance policies pay out dividends. Number 9 is protection against insurability changes. One of the biggest things that happen when you have a term life insurance is, say you're 40 years old and you get a 20-year term, and then your 20-year term is up. Well, what age are you then? You're 60. And kind of after 50, people start having health problems if they haven't taken care of themselves. And even if they have taken care of themselves, sometimes you have health problems. So now you've got a policy that is going to end at age 60, and now you've got health problems, and now you try to get approved for another term policy, and you may just flat out get denied, or they may rate you up due to those health issues, and it gets so expensive that you can't afford to do it anymore. So permanent life insurance just totally eliminates that, because it will never cancel as long as you just keep making your premium payments. Pretty cool deal. Now, I will tell you, you can, with some term life insurance companies, you can get, if the policy has a conversion privilege, you can actually convert part of that term life at specified points in the term life insurance policy over to whole life insurance without proof or evidence of insurability. Cool stuff. Because as we talked about, our 40-year-old getting a 20-year term, getting up to 60, and his health just went poo-poo, right? So if your health goes poo-poo, and that's not an insurance term. I just kind of make some of this stuff up. But well, the poo-poo stuff anyway. But yeah, I mean, if your insurance if your health takes a dump on you, and with term, you'd be out of luck. But you can convert a portion of some term life insurance policies over into permanent whole life insurance without proof of insurability, which means they don't ask any health questions. You just automatically have that right within that policy, and boom, you would automatically have insurability for the rest of your life. Now, you're going to have to make payments on it, of course, but say you had $1 million policy and it had a conversion privilege, and you converted 25% of that into whole life insurance. And it wouldn't matter if you were just diagnosed with COPD and put on oxygen. They wouldn't even ask any health questions. You could just convert that over. Again, it's depending on the verbiage and the specific type of policy. Got to get it set up right from the start. But cool stuff out of life insurance. And then the number 10, our last and final number 10, is legacy creation and charitable giving. Who doesn't want to leave a good legacy, right? So with these policies, you can designate the beneficiary who's going to receive the death benefit upon your passing. And it's an amazing way to provide financial support to your loved ones or future generations or charitable organizations that are important to you. Think about this. Most people aren't just rolling in the dough, but most people make some money. And, there may be a charity out there or a church or a pet adoption or animal shelter, something that they know needs the help. And God forbid, they're just thinking, you know what? If I'm going to die, that's going to be a bad situation, but let's make something good come out of something bad. And I'm going to get a life insurance policy and I'm going to donate it to an organization. Pretty cool stuff. By the same token, that's a great way to generationally change, your family and kind of the wealth within your family. Insurance is just a great way to do that, that God forbid you passed away, your spouse or your children or your grandchildren, you know, kind of as much money as you'd want to provide, maybe 250,000 or 500 or a million or 2 million or 3 million. Pretty cool stuff. And there's really no other a financial product out there that allows you to leverage your money so heavily and really put pennies into the policy and get dollars, and it just spits them out. Pretty cool stuff. So I know we didn't go like super deep into those each subject. That was not the point of this video. It's kind of just to whet your appetite, kind of inform you a little bit, and kind of expose you to some different parts of the life insurance world that you may not have thought about before, so you could be more educated, so that when you do come and talk with us or your insurance agent or whatever, if you don't have an insurance agent, reach out to us. Don't just pick somebody out of the blue that you don't know anything about. If you've got your own insurance agent, yeah, talk with them. That's cool. We don't mind that at all. But yeah, we just want to make sure that you get a good insurance agent who knows their stuff, who's going to, put your needs before their needs or anybody else's needs. So there we go. That's the 10 benefits of permanent life insurance. My name is Randy Vandervate, and I hope this podcast has been helpful to you. Funeral Funds of America can help you qualify for first day coverage or benefits at funeralfunds.com. That's funeral, FUNDS.com. And our phone number is 888-862-9456. We will be blessed to help you with this in the future. Until that day comes, stay safe, take care, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.